It is 2:32 a.m. On the 20th of July. So it is both cold and late in the night. But I'm not going to sleep until when I show you how to do an API for login in ERPNext. So our API is going to try and log into this system, and we are going to be returning on Postman the authentication token and all the other details that you may need to use your API maybe on your mobile app. So let's go ahead and get started. We are going to be writing our code here. We make this a little bit larger. So we have this app that we have created called library management that we are using to learn a few things, and I would like to just create a new file here and call it api.py, and I am apparently not able to do that. So why don't I just split this, and let me just show you what I'm doing. So cd to library, cd to apps first, and then to library management, cd to apps. No, it's not this one, so I need to step out, and cd to training, and then to apps, then to library, and then when I check this I need to cd to one more library, check, yeah, here, so it's here. So I can now sudo touch, and I need to touch api.py, okay, and my password is for Karani is that. So now I have an api.py file somewhere. Here it is. I need to give it permissions so that we don't have to have issues saving it. So I can just do sudo change mode. I just give everything to api.py, and it's chmod, not sh mode, it's chmod. So now if you list, you see that my file is green. So great. I can just clear this and actually close it out. So we go back now here, and we have a file here called api.py. So the first thing I want to do here is to import Frappe. That is the first thing, of course, you have to do if you want to do anything Frappe in your application. And now we want to start doing our function that is supposed to that is basically supposed to log someone in. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to define a function. We're just going to call this function login. Remember, you can decide to call this function whatever you want to call it. And then even before I go far, I need to whitelist this. So frappe.whitelist, and then remember it's a login token, login function, so it can be accessed even by guests. So here we are going to say allow guest, allow guest, and then I'm going to say true. Okay, so we can save that, but we are still moving on. This is Python, so close that. And then inside this function is supposed to take in two parameters. The first thing is the user, and the second one is the pwd. We just call it pwd to represent the password. So we are going to have the user and the password as the two parameters that we need here. And then the next thing that we will need to do here is to try, because we want to maybe try to do something, and then if it fails, we want to return an error to or to give an exception in Python. In other languages, you are coming from other languages, it's going to be a try catch, but because this is Python, this is try except. So we can do login manager, and by the way, we are going to be using the login manager that is built by Frappe. So we are going to be doing Frappe dot auth dot, and you may need to import this one here. So we are going to say from, remember this is Python again, so Frappe, from Frappe, then we import, and we want to import auth. Okay, so here now we can say dot auth dot, still doesn't want to show me, but that is its problem. So we can move in and do login manager. Okay, so here we have try, and then we are trying to get to do this. That's why this is conprinting. Try statement must have at least one except, yeah, okay. we are not yet there. We are coming, don't complain yet. So login manager dot we are going to say dot authenticate. I hope I'm going to be spelling this correct. So we are going to be trying to authenticate, and we are going to authenticate a user, which we are going to assign USR. Remember the USR that we had there, and then we are going to have PWD. These are parameters that you must pass like that, and this is going to take the PWD that we had up here. Okay, great. So the next line is going to have login manager dot post login. Okay, post underscore login. That is a function, so you need to trigger it, and this thing is done. So we can come down here and satisfy satisfy our function so that it stops complaining. So we are going to say except and then we are going to give it exceptions here. So exceptions, so Frappe except, not accept, it is except Frappe dot exceptions dot authentication failure, so authentication error. And then when we give that down here, we are going to have something else. And what are we going to have? The clear message. So Frappe dot not clear cache but clear messages. Great. This is a function, so you need to trigger it. And then the next thing I'm going to do is Frappe dot local dot response. I think that is dot response, yes. And then inside this response, you're going to have message, and then you're going to say equals, and then of course we are assigning a message here just in case, and then we are going to do success key, so success underscore key, and then we are going to give this one a 0 here, and then of course a comma. This is an object, and then we are going to say the message that we want to return here. This is a key, and of course you can give this thing any message that you want to give. In my case here, I can say authentication error. You have an error here. So great. This message you can give whatever you want to give. Remember, this is an except. Is in the except. So when this thing tried to log in, it failed, and so this is the except part. So you give it the message that you want to give here. So every time this thing doesn't succeed in logging in, it will throw an exception. Okay, and then after that, the next thing that we are going to be doing here is to return. Okay, so you need to return that is in the except. Don't get out of this. Remember, in Python, indentation is key, so this return will be returning this except. And then you can come down here now and say API generate equals, API generate equals generate keys. Okay, generate keys is a function that we are going to create, so you can call it anything. So I want to keep my names very descriptive, so I'm going to say API generate equals generate keys, and then inside here I'm going to do Frappe dot session dot user. This session dot user, what is it? Why is it this thing complaining? Generate keys is not there because it is not defined. Okay, that is okay. This Frappe dot session dot user, remember in Frappe, when you say Frappe dot session dot user, you get the current logged in user. Okay, so I'm going to be passing this user to the function that I am going to create in a minute, and so I can actually come down here and just define this function. So let me copy this function, put the function here, and call the function, and then remember it is supposed to take a user here. Okay, so for now we can just say pass to satisfy Python, and this also is now not complaining. Now we are not done with this part yet. The next thing that you are supposed to do is user equals, and we want to say user equals Frappe dot get, and we want to get the doc. And which doc do you think you're going to get? we want to get, you guessed it, is the user document. And then here we need to pass something. Remember, get doc takes in two parameters, the document and the key. So this is again going to be frappe dot session dot user. This is the currently logged in user. Remember, we try to log in, use somebody here. Okay, so if it didn't manage to log in successfully, remember it's going to return here, but if it did, it's going to spill over to this place, and therefore these are going to be executed. Make sense? I hope so. Then we proceed. We say frappe dot response, and now here we are putting together the response that we want to return. Here we are going to put together the message that we want to return in the case of a successful login. So we are going to have a success key here. Remember, even up here we had a success key. Now in this case it is going to be 1 because we have successfully logged in. The next thing that we would like to return here is the message. You see, even up here we had a message, and therefore again they should tell you that you can put whatever you want to return here. I can say here I said authentication error. Why don't I say authentication success here? What stops me? And then there's another thing that we need to return. This is the SID. Remember, you can call this whatever you want to call it. This is the long key that we're going to generate. So we're going to call this frappe.session.user. Okay. So not user but SID. This is going to be a long key. We're going to see right now as we generate it on Postman. And then there is another thing yet. API key. All these things are required. API key. These are things are required. The front end for some applications. This is going to be user.api key. Remember, some of these things are also going to be coming from the function that we are defining in a few minutes down here. Okay, so we have the API there. We are not done. We need something else. We want this thing to be very complete. So API secret. The API secret again is going to have something which is API and then underscore generate. All right, you see, API generate is what we had up there. Okay, and then we are going to have and look, by the way, API generate is what is coming from the function that we are creating here. So we are coming here in a few, otherwise we are going to get into very nasty errors here. And then we are going to return username. Remember these ones now. Other things that you may need to add: user dot, and then you have username. All right, and then you can even add email. So these ones you don't have a limit. Anything that is inside the user dot email, anything that is inside the user is written like that. It doesn't have a double R. Anything that is inside the users table, now you can get it there. So I can save that. We are done with that part, and then we come to this function. So remember, this function is what is generating our API secret, and therefore we need to generate it here. All right, great. So what do we need to do here? Here we need to do just a few things. We passed the user. This is the user that was expected by this function, and this function is passing in the currently logged in user. So we are good with the first line. The second line is going to take user. I will take the user details, and this we are going to assign frappe dot get doc. I don't know why every time I'm writing, almost every time I'm writing get doc, I write with an I. Okay. So this takes in two parameters I told you earlier, and this, of course, like you guessed this, you guessed it, is going to take in this user that has come from there, and then excuse me, we are going to have our API secret. Okay, and the API secret here is going to be something else. It's going to be frappe dot generate hash. Do we have that? Yes. Where did I go? Generate hash. So after we generate hash, we may want to give our hash a length, so we can say just give us a length of 15. Okay, don't do a very long one. If you do a long one, of course, if you need an hash that is longer than 15 characters, you can do that, no issue at all. And then we are going to give a condition here. All right, so we're going to say if not, then we're going to say user details. I can hear it's almost morning. So if not user details, excuse me, so if not user details, then I mean dot API, this should have API key. Okay, so if not user details dot API key, okay, then we need to do something. And remember, user details is coming from where? It's coming from there. Okay, yeah. So if it doesn't have an API key, what we would like to do is API underscore key. We would like to assign that to Frappe dot, like you guessed it, generate hash, and then we want to assign this again a length of 15, just like this other one. All right, and after we have done that, we can now say user underscore details, and then we are going to say dot API. Why is it not showing? API key, and then we are going to say equals API underscore key. Great. So user detail dot API key is API key. So we are now assigning that, and then here we are going to say user details again dot API secret. API, this time we want to get the API secret, and then we are going to assign that API secret like that. And then we are simply going to say user details. We want to assign this, we want to save whatever we have now, so we can say dot save. This is a function, so we are going to trigger it so that it can call. And the last thing is just to return, and we want to return the API what? Secret. So this API secret is what we need there. You see, API secret, that one is what we are returning here. Great. So why don't we give this thing a try? So we go to Postman. So we have, okay, we go to Postman, we do, let me get this, so I can get this, I can log out of this. Actually, we don't need this, and then I can come to Postman, we give our thing a try. So we have app, we have method, and then we have, this must be library underscore management, and then I think we have API. This is not supposed to be dot API dot login. Okay, and then in the body, remember, we are going to pass in two things. The first thing we are going to pass according to our code here is the user. Okay, the first thing we're going to pass here is the user, and we also need to pass this password. So also copy that and bring the password there. So I have a user called administrator and the password is admin. Can we give that a shot? Yes, and we have a problem. So what is the problem? Let's preview and see what we are having here. We are told log in to access this page. Okay, which page? Why are we logging in to access it? We want to log in. It's time we want to log in. So let's first of all see whether we are getting here. We have avoid guest is true login that. Okay, if we try to do here return login function, we just want to see whether this thing is getting here. So we have API and then we have login. Okay, so send it, and it's not getting there actually. So let me see my link here properly. So app method library. Do we do that, or am I getting this thing very wrong? No, I don't think it's that one. Let me see whether I have anything here that looks like so if I click this one, I'm going to see API, and this one I have what? I have app. Sorry, it's API. Sorry, that should be API, yeah, not app. Okay, so now when I send, I'm getting a message for login function. Okay, so now I need to go back to my code, remove this return function, and now try save my code and go back to Postman and send it and see whether we have a success. Yes, we have a success. Look at that. So here we have message and we have a success key is 1, authentication success. We have SID, which is a long string. We have API key, which is here. API secret is here. Username is administrator, and this is the password. And when you log in, it's going to navigate you to app, and then the full name is administrator. Let me try to send again and see what happens to this. So when I send it again, these things are regenerated afresh. All right, what if we passed in the wrong password here? We add something and send it. This is going to return a success of 0, so it's not successful logging in, and the message here is authentication error. So removing it and send it again, and we have an awesome success message. So yes, that is how we do it. I'm going to put all this code to GitHub, and the link is on the description below. Check it out, and it is also going to be on my blog, that is Code with Karani. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.